there's some issue here. Yeah. So the preface of this Nectar of Devotion, it is telling us certain things. So what it is telling us? It is telling us brief history of the book and the author. And then from this preface, we will try to understand the book, which is entitled as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So Srila Prabhupada very wonderfully explains the meaning of each and every word: Bhakti, Rasa, Amrita, and Sindhu. And then we will proceed for the introduction. Yes, so because we have to cover the preface and introduction, so what we will do is we will quickly read this first three paragraphs, which is the introduction of the book and the Rupa Goswami, the author. So yes, anybody who is a quick reader? Yes, please.
Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes.
The Nectar of Devotion is a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which was written in Sanskrit by Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. He was the chief of the 6 Goswamis, who were the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he first met Lord Chaitanya, Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada was engaged as a minister in the Mohammedan government of Bengal. He and his brother Sanatana were then named Dabira Kasha and Sakara Malik, respectively, and they held responsible posts as ministers of Nawab Hussain Shah. At that time, 500 years ago, the Hindu society was very rigid, and if a member of the Brahmana caste accepted the service of a Mohammedan ruler, he was at once rejected from Brahmana society. That was the position of the two brothers, Dabira Kasa and Sakara Malik. They belonged to the highly situated Saraswata Brahmana community, but they were ostracized due to their acceptance of ministerial posts in the government of Hussain Shah. It is the grace of Lord Chaitanya that he accepted these two exalted personalities as his disciples and raised them to the position of Goswamis, the highest position in Brahmanical culture. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya accepted Haridas Thakur as his disciple, although Haridas happened to be born of a Mohammedan family. And Lord Chaitanya later on made him the Acharya of chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya met the two brothers Dabira Kasa and Sakara Malik in a village known as Ramakeli in the district of Malda. And after that meeting, the brothers...
you missed one paragraph. Lord Chaitanya's principle is universal.
Sorry, Prabhu. Lord Chaitanya's principle is universal. Anyone who knows the science of Krishna and is engaged in the service of the Lord is accepted as being in a higher position than a person born in the family of Brahmana. That is the original principle accepted by all Vedic literatures, especially the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The principle of Lord Chaitanya's movement in educating and elevating everyone to the exalted post of Goswami is taught in the Nectar of Devotion. Lord Chaitanya met the two brothers Dabira Kasa and Sakara Malik in a village known as Ramakeli in the district of Malda, and after that meeting, the brothers decided to retire from the government service and join Lord Chaitanya. Dabira Kasa, who was later to become Rupa Goswami, retired from his post and collected all the money he had accumulated during his service. It is described in the Chaitanya Charanamrita that his accumulated savings in gold coins equaled millions of dollars and filled a large boat. He divided the money in a very exemplary manner, which should be followed by devotees in particular and by humanity in general. 50% of his accumulated wealth was distributed to the Krishna conscious persons, namely the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. 25% was distributed to the relatives, and 25% was kept against emergency expenditures and personal difficulties. Later on, when Sakar Malik also proposed to retire, the Nawab was very much agitated and put him into a jail. But Sakara Malik, who was later to become Srila Sanatana Goswami, took advantage of his brother's personal money, which he had been deposited with a village banker, and escaped from the prison of Hussein Shah. In this way, both brothers joined Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, please go ahead.
Rupa Goswami later met Lord Chaitanya at Prayaga, Allahabad, India, and at the Dashashwamedha bathing ghat of the holy city, the Lord instructed him continually for 10 days. The Lord particularly instructed Rupa Goswami on the science of Krishna consciousness. These teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada are narrated in our book Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Later, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada elaborated on the teachings of Lord with profound knowledge of revealed scriptures and authoritative references from various Vedic literatures. Srila Srinivasa Acharya describes in his prayers to the six Goswamis that they were all highly learned scholars, not only in Sanskrit but also in foreign languages such as Persian and Arabic. They very scrutinizingly studied all the Vedic scriptures in order to establish the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the authorized principles of Vedic knowledge. The present Krishna conscious movement is also based on the authority of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. We are therefore generally known as Rupanugas, or the followers in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. It is only for our guidance that Srila Rupa Goswami prepared his book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is now presented in the form of the Nectar of Devotion. Persons engaged in Krishna conscious movement may take advantage of this great literature and be very solidly situated in Krishna consciousness.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So here we saw that the whole history, a brief history we can say, not whole, about the book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and the author Rupa Goswami is mentioned, that how actually this book which is written is nothing but the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which he gave to Srila Rupa Goswami Pad in Dashashwamedha Ghat at Prayag, for 10 continuous days, which is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srila Prabhupada has mercifully also formed a book called the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, as Prabhupada is mentioning here. In this also, this chapter is mentioned. And if we see many verses which are there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita on this particular dialogue between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami, many of those verses also appear in the book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So now let us see these various explanations which Srila Prabhupada has given about Bhakti, Rasa, Amrita and Sindhu. So Bhakti, Srila Prabhupada defines as devotional service or devotional activities. So generally, if we see outsider, whoever defines about devotion or about bhakti, they will just mention devotion, the word devotion. So that is what is actually mentioned everywhere. But especially the Srila Prabhupada's explanation we can see is very different. Srila Prabhupada is giving the meaning of the word bhakti not just as devotion, but devotional service. And when there is service, the word service, that means that there is give and take between two people. So we see in any service, there is a reciprocation. And that reciprocation is there in the bhakti. And that's why Srila Prabhupada translates the word bhakti as devotional service. So, and then Prabhupada talks about the word rasa also in the same paragraph. So he says the meaning of rasa. So before we actually go for reading, we'll just try to understand and then we will actually read it. So the word rasa, which Srila Prabhupada explains, is very wonderful. He says actually there is no proper translation for the word rasa in English. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used the word mellow as the translation of rasa. And Prabhupada says we will just follow in the footsteps of our spiritual master. And if we see that in general terms, the word rasa means what? It's just like a juice. So we have mango, and when we make juice of the mango, so that is something what we taste and we say that this is a very wonderful mango. So juice or ras. So that juice or mellow, which Srila Prabhupada is explaining, he says that actually that mellow comes when there is a relationship. So any kind of relationship, not just the word bhakti. Initially, Prabhupada explained the word bhakti, but now he is explaining just the word rasa. So the word rasa means something that is experienced in relationship. That is rasa. So the relationship could be anything. It could be of husband, wife. It could be of mother and son or child. It could be any relationship or a friend or a friend like that. So something we have experience of in that relationship. That is what is called as rasa by Srila Prabhupada explaining us. So that is rasa and amrita. So then in rasa, Prabhupada explains us there are two types of rasa. One is the material rasa and another is a bhakti rasa. So material rasa has two characteristics. One is that in the material rasa, people generally oscillate between bhoga and tyaga. That is the one characteristic of the material rasa. What is
Sorry,
that?
Prabhuji, sorry to disturb you. Bhoga and
Tyaga.
Tyaga.
Bhoga is enjoyment and tyaga is renunciation. So they oscillate from enjoyment and renunciation. So what it is that we'll come to it when we read, Prabhupada will explain nicely. I am just giving you a brief synopsis so that when we read, we are aware what we are actually trying to understand. So that is a one thing, one characteristic of material rasa. And second characteristic of material rasa is chapala sukha. So chapala sukha is fleeting happiness, short-term happiness. If you know this song Bhaja Hu Re Mana, so there the word comes Chapala Sukha Labha Labh Gire. Just for some fleeting pleasure, I am trying to invest in the material things, and actually I am just getting some simple happiness. And then the rasa, second type of rasa. This is the first type of rasa, that is the material rasa, which has got two characteristics. One is bhoga and tyaga, and second is chapala sukha. And then the second type of rasa is the bhakti rasa. So about then bhakti rasa, Srila Prabhupada explains that it is not chapala sukha, it is everlasting happiness. And then when person achieves this happiness of bhakti, then he doesn't have to oscillate between bhoga and tyaga. So what is bhoga and tyaga, which is explained by Srila Prabhupada very nicely in a very practical way. That generally nowadays people work in corporate from Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, weekend is holiday. So whole week they work and they are waiting when the weekend will come. And when the weekend comes, they want to enjoy. But they cannot enjoy to the fullest extent. So then they again think, now when will Monday come and I'll go back to work. So that is what Srila Prabhupada explains, the oscillation of the mind of person from bhoga to tyaga and back to bhoga. So this kind of oscillation goes. But in bhakti rasa, this kind of oscillation is not there because there is everlasting happiness experienced throughout. And that's why there is no oscillation. And last word, so this amrita is nothing but, Prabhupada explains that even after experiencing material rasa for a long time, a person is going to die. So he is going to be mrita. But bhakti rasa is amrita. It is everlasting happiness. And even after the death of the body, the person can experience this rasa. So that's why it is Amrita. So in this way, Prabhupada explains all these words, Bhakti, Rasa, Amrita. And what is the word Sindhu means? So Sindhu is an ocean. So ocean, generally when we say that as big as ocean is the analogy given. So ocean is very huge. Even sometimes the depth of the ocean is cannot be estimated, or we cannot very well estimate the length and breadth of the ocean. So like that, this ocean of devotional service or the rasa experienced in devotional service is very huge. And the goal of all of the sadhakas is to drown themselves in this ocean. So generally, when we talk of ocean and the drowning, so everyone is fearful of drowning in an ocean. But for the bhakti practitioners, the goal is to drown themselves in this ocean of bhakti rasa. So like that, these words are being explained by Srila Prabhupada. So yes, now we will quickly read the remaining part of the purport so that we actually understand very well how Srila Prabhupada has explained these words. So one by one devotee can read one paragraph. Yes, bhakti means, would volunteer?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'll read.
Yes.
Bhakti means devotional service. Every service has some attractive feature which drives the servitor progressively on and on. Every one of us within this world is perpetually engaged in some sort of service, and the impetus of such service is the pleasure we derive from it. Driven by affection for his wife and children, a family man works day and night. A philanthropist works.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mataji, just a minute. Like here now, Prabhupada is giving one by one examples of how that rasa has been experienced. Okay? Yes.
A philanthropist works in the same way for the love of the greater family, and a nationalist for the cause of his country and countrymen. That force which drives the philanthropist and the householder and the nationalist is called rasa, or a kind of mellow relationship whose taste is very sweet. Bhakti rasa is a mellow different from ordinary rasa enjoyed by mundane workers. Mundane workers labor very hard day and night in order to relish a certain kind of rasa which is understood as sense gratification. The relish or taste of the mundane rasa doesn't long endure, and therefore mundane workers are always apt to change their position of enjoyment. A businessman is not satisfied by working a whole week, therefore wanting a change for the weekend. He goes to a place where he tries to forget his business activities. Then, after the weekend is spent in forgetfulness, he again changes his position and resumes his actual business activities. Material engagement means accepting a particular status for some time and then changing it. The position of changing back and forth is technically known as bhoga tyaga, which means a position of alternating sense enjoyment and renunciation. A living entity cannot steadily remain either in sense enjoyment or in renunciation. Change is going on perpetually, and we cannot be happy in either state because of our internal constitutional position. Sense gratification does not endure for long, and it is therefore called chapala sukha, or flickering happiness. For example, an ordinary family man who works very hard day and night and is successful in giving comforts to the members of his family, thereby relish a kind of mellow. But his whole investment of material happiness immediately terminates along with his body as soon as his life is over.
So
Death
here's,
is
this is the word amrita explained. So mrita, death means mrita. As soon as death comes, whatever was being experienced is gone. Yes.
Death is therefore taken as a representative of the God for the atheist class of men. The devotee realizes the presence of God by devotional service, whereas the atheist realizes the presence of God in the shape of death. At death, everything is finished, and one has to begin a new chapter of a life in a new situation, perhaps higher or lower than the last one. In any field of activity, political, social, national, or international, the result of our actions will be finished with the end of life. This is sure.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
I can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, please.
Bhakti Rasa, however, the mellow realized in the transcendental loving service of the Lord does not finish with with the end of life. It continues perpetually and is therefore called Amrita, that which does not die but exists eternally. This is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. The Bhagavad Gita says that a little advancement in Bhakti Rasa can save a devotee from the greatest danger, that of missing the opportunity for human life. The rasas derive from our feelings in social life, in family life, all in the greater family life of altruism, philanthropy, nationalism, socialism, communism, etc. Do not guarantee that one next life will be as a human being. We prepare our next life by our actual activities in the present life. A living entity is offered a particular type of body as a result of his action in the present body. These activities are taken into account by a superior authority known as Daiva, or the authority of God. This Daiva is explained in the Bhagavad Gita as the prime cause of everything. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that a man takes his next body by Daiva Netrena, which means by the supervision of the authority of the Supreme. In an ordinary sense, Daiva is explained as destiny. Daiva supervision gives us a body selected from 8 lakh 84
84
lakh
lakh.
forms. 84 lakh forms. The choice does not depend on our selection but is awarded to us according to our destiny. If our body at present is engaged in the activities of Krishna consciousness, even if unable to complete the course of Bhakti Yoga, takes birth in the higher division of human society, so that he can automatically further his advancement in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, all bona fide activities in Krishna consciousness are Amrita, or permanent. This is the subject matter of the nectar of devotion.
This paragraph you can term as Amrita. The word explanation of the word Amrita. Previous paragraph, the Bhakti Rasa, Bhakti and Rasa, these two things are explained. In this paragraph, Amrita is explained. Yes, somebody can read the next paragraph.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes.
This eternal engagement in Bhakti Rasa can be understood by a serious student upon studying the nectar of devotion. Adoption of Bhakti Rasa or Krishna consciousness will immediately bring one to an auspicious life free from anxieties and will bless one with a transcendental existence, thus minimizing the value of liberation. Bhakti Rasa itself is sufficient to produce a feeling of liberation because it attracts the attention of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Generally, neophyte devotees are anxious to see Krishna or God, but God cannot be seen or known by our present materially blunt senses. The process of devotional service, as it is recommended in the Nectar of Devotion, will gradually elevate one from the material condition of life to the spiritual status, wherein the devotee becomes purified of all designations. The senses can then become uncontaminated, being constantly in touch with the Bhakti Rasa. When the purified senses are employed in the service of the Lord, one becomes situated in Bhakti Rasa life, and any action performed for the satisfaction of Krishna in this transcendental Bhakti Rasa stage of life can be relished perpetually. When one is thus engaged in the devotional service, all varieties of rasas or mellows turn into eternity. In the beginning, one is trained according to the principles of regulation under the guidance of the Acharya or spiritual master, and gradually, when one is elevated, devotional service becomes automatic and spontaneous eagerness to serve Krishna. There are 12 kinds of rasas, as will be explained in this book, and by the renovating a relationship with Krishna in 5 primary rasas, we can live eternally in full knowledge and bliss.
Yes. So in this particular paragraph, Srila Prabhupada, after explaining the words Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, is explaining what is the result of actually being in the Bhakti Rasa. So this is what is the result, that we will be minimizing the value of liberation. So later part in the this book, we will understand the 6 characteristics of devotional service. In that, one is that one minimizes the value of the liberation. Means one of the characteristic of pure devotional service is that it minimizes the value of liberation. So liberation is what? That one is feeling himself free from the material distress is the state of liberation. But Bhakti Rasa is much more beyond that. And that is what is Bhakti Rasa will give. It is not just freeing oneself from the material distress or stopping all the material miseries. That is not the goal of Bhakti. The goal of Bhakti is love for Krishna, which is experienced when there is a reciprocation between the servitor and the served. So that is Bhakti Rasa. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this. And then Prabhupada explains that this kind of relationship or the service or the reciprocation happens in 12 different rasas, out of which 5 are primary and 7 are secondary. All this is explained in the further part of the book, but this explanation is not the part of the course. The course is up to 19th chapter, and all this explanation comes after the 19th chapter. Yeah, somebody can read the next paragraph.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
The basic principle of the living condition is that we have a general propensity to love someone. No one can live without loving someone else. This propensity is present in every living being. Even an animal like a tiger has this loving propensity, at least in a dormant stage, and it is certainly present in a human being. The missing point, however, is where to repose our love so that everyone can become happy. At the present moment, the human society teaches one to love his country, family, and his personal self. But there is no information where to repose the loving propensity so that everyone can become happy. That missing point is Krishna. The nectar of devotion teaches us how to stimulate our original love for Krishna and how to stimulate and how to be situated in that position where we can enjoy our blissful life. In the
Yeah,
primal,
just a minute. So here in this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is now further explaining us that how everyone has this propensity to love. But when that propensity gets its fullest value is when we know whom to love. So if we understand and repose our love to Krishna, then actually we will get the full feeling of loving someone, and we will be also satisfied, and not just we will be satisfied, but everyone else also will be satisfied. So that is what is Srila Prabhupada explaining here. Yes, somebody can read the next paragraph. Yes.
In the primary stage, a child loves his parents, then his brothers and sisters, and as he daily grows up, he begins to love his family, society, community, country, nation, or even the whole human society. But the loving propensity is not satisfied even by loving all human society. That loving propensity remains imperfectly fulfilled until we know who is the Supreme Beloved. Our love can be fully satisfied only when it is reposed in Krishna. This theme is the sum and substance of the nectar of devotion, which teaches us how to love Krishna in 5 different transcendental mellows. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Somebody can read next because I already explained, so we will not discuss.
Shall I read from?
Yes, Parmeshwar Prabhu.
Yeah. Our loving. Sorry. I'll read from the book, Prabhu. Sorry. Just a moment. Yeah, our loving propensity expands just as the vibration of light or air expands, but we do not know where it ends. The nectar of devotion teaches us the science of loving everyone of the living entities perfectly by the easy method of loving Krishna. We have failed to create peace and harmony in human society, even by such great attempts as the United Nations, because we do not know the right method. The method is very simple. One has to understand it with a cool head. The nectar of devotion teaches all men how to perform the civil, simple, and natural method of loving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we learn how to love Krishna, then it is very easy to immediately and simultaneously love every living being. It is like pouring water on the root of a tree or supplying food to one's stomach. The method of pouring water on the root of a tree or supplying foodstuffs So the stomach is universally scientific and practical, as every one of us has experienced. Everyone knows well that when we eat something, or in other words, when we put foodstuffs in the stomach, the energy created by such action is immediately distributed throughout the whole body. Similarly, when we pour water on the root, the energy thus created is immediately distributed throughout the entirety of even the largest tree. It is not possible to water the tree part by part, nor is it possible to feed the different parts of the body separately. The nectar of devotion will teach us how to turn the one switch that will immediately brighten everything everywhere. One who does not know this method is missing the point of life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So here in this particular paragraph, we see that Srila Prabhupada is very, very wonderfully explaining that we have failed to create peace and harmony in human society, even by such great attempts as the United Nations. And we can clearly see this today. So much of war and things are happening, all over the world, just for the sake of some, oil and other things. So this is true, so much true, which was written by Srila Prabhupada 50 years ago, but still we are experiencing it right now. So only if we can understand this, that how to learn to love Krishna, then everything will be simplified. As Srila Prabhupada is saying, that it is just one switch that will immediately brighten everything everywhere. Yes, go ahead. Somebody can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
As far as material necessities are concerned, the human civilization at the present moment is very much advanced in living comfortably. But still we are not happy because we are missing the point. The material comforts of life alone are not sufficient to make us happy. The vivid example in America, the richest nation of the world, having all facilities for material comfort, is produced a class of men completely confused and frustrated in life. I am appealingly here with to such confused men to learn the art of devotional service as directed in the nectar of devotion. And I am sure the fire of material existence burning within their heart will be immediately extinguished. The root cause of all our dissatisfaction is that our dormant loving propensity that has not fulfilled despite of our great advancement in the materialistic way of life. The nectar of devotion will give us practically hints how we can live in this material world perfectly engaged in devotional service and thus fulfill all our desires in this life and the next. The nectar of devotion is not presented to condemn any way of material life, but the attempt is to give information to rationalist philosophers and people in general how to love Krishna. One may live without material discomfortures, but at the same time, he should learn the art of loving Krishna. At the present moment, we are inventing so many ways to utilize the propensity to love, but factionally, we are missing the real point, Krishna. We are watering all parts of the tree, but missing the tree's root. We are trying to keep our body fit by all means, but we are neglecting to supply foodstuff to the stomach. Missing Krishna means missing oneself also. The real self-realization and realization of the Krishna go together simultaneously. For example, seeing oneself in the morning means seeing the sunrise also. Without seeing the sunshine, no one can see himself. Similarly, unless one has realized Krishna, there is no question of self-realization. The nectar of devotion is
Bas. Yes.
direction.
Thank you. So here we see again Srila Prabhupada is driving the same point that it is not that we are trying to I mean to say condemn, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, any way the materialistic life. But the only attempt is to teach people how to love Krishna. You may continue with whatever way of life you are having. Just you add this one component in your life of loving Krishna. Just like then Prabhupada is again explaining the same examples. If you are watering the tree, then it is best to water the root. If you are missing the root and if you are watering everywhere else, what is the point in that? Similarly, if you are trying to keep the body fit but not supplying to the stomach, no food stuff to the stomach, then how will the body remain fit? So that is what is Prabhupada is driving the point. So don't miss Krishna in your life. Yes, last paragraph. Somebody can read. Yes, any volunteer to read the
Yes,
last
Prabhuji.
paragraph?
Hare Krishna.
Somebody else can read who has not
Yeah.
yet read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Nectar of devotion is specifically presented for persons who are now engaged in Krishna consciousness movement. I beg to offer my sincere thanks to all my friends and disciples who are helping me to push forward the Krishna conscious movement in the Western countries. And I beg to acknowledge with thanks the contribution made by my beloved disciple Sriman Jayanand Brahmachari. My thanks are due as well to the directors of ISKCON Press who have taken so much care in publishing this great literature. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So, what is the most significant line in this paragraph?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it all bona fide activities in Krishna consciousness are Amrita or permanent?
Sorry, say again.
All bona fide activities in Krishna consciousness are Amrita or permanent.
Acha, that is what you are saying in the whole preface, this very
Yeah.
striking point. Okay. Anyone else?
One more thing, Prabhuji, what I observed is we have to know about Krishna. Then you will be then you can see we can treat everyone in the same way, and we can keep the human society in peace and in that way. First we have to approach Krishna. First we have to know Krishna. Then only we'll get to know the Amrita of staying in this material world.
So, know Krishna and know everyone.
Yes.
Very good. Yes, anyone else?
Love Krishna, you'll end up loving all other living entities.
Correct. Almost similar one.
The root cause of our dissatisfaction is that, Prabhuji, we like to, our dormant loving propensity is not being fulfilled. That is the root cause of the dissatisfaction. And by praying and loving Krishna, we'll be eternally happy, Prabhuji.
Bhakti Rasa is eternal, Prabhuji. Whether mundane Rasa is not, and Bhakti Rasa is eternal.
Okay.
That is the bottom line, I understand.
Wonderful.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, the significant is the nectar of devotion.
Presented for persons who are engaged in Krishna consciousness.
Oh, yes, very good. Actually, that is what I was looking here. The nectar of devotion is specifically presented for persons who are now engaged in the Krishna consciousness movement. So, all of us are engaged in Krishna consciousness movement, right? So, this book is meant for all of us, primarily. That does not mean it is not meant for anyone else, but primarily it is meant for us, so that how we can more make progress in our spiritual life. Thank you, Vishnu Swarup Prabhu. Okay, so now we will move on to introduction of this book. So in this introduction, yes, you are able to see this. So this introduction has got Mangala Charan, that is the auspicious invocation. Then it has got brief description of the contents of the book, and then most perfect definition of pure devotional service. So that is the whole contents of the introduction given by Srila Prabhupada to this book. So actually, this book, the introduction onwards, actually the book written by Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu begins. And in the beginning, he has started it with Mangalacharan. So Mangalacharan is nothing but the auspicious invocation. So what does Mangalacharan has is explained very nicely by Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he says, Sei Mangalacharan hai Trividha Prakar, Vastu Nirdesh Ashirvada Namaskar. So Vastu Nirdesh is what? It is the objective of the book. What does this book contains? That is the Vastu Nirdesh. And Namaskar is the obeisances which is being offered by the author. To whom he offers obeisances, that is what is explained. And Ashirvad is that he awards the blessing to the reader. So now let us start with the reading of the book. Yes. Sanjay Prabhu can read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Introduction. Invoking auspiciousness. Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the reservoir of all rasas or relationships, which are called neutrality, passive adoration, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, conjugal love, comedy, compassion, fear, chivalry, ghastliness, wonder and devastation. He is the supreme attractive form, and by his universal and transcendental attractive features, he has captivated all the gopis, headed by Taraka, Palika, Shyama, Lalita, and ultimately Srimati Radharani. Let his lordship's grace be on us so that there may not be any hindrance in the execution of this duty of writing the nectar of devotion, impelled by his divine grace, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada.
So it is interesting. Actually, what I will do is I will not share the book now. You all have book, I suppose.
Yes.
I will share my PowerPoint only. Otherwise, I have to keep shifting here and there. So in the Mangalacharan, this is what is explained. This is the first verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Akhila Rasamrita Murti Prasrumar Ruchiruddha Taraka Palihi Kalita Shyama Lalito Radha Priyan Vidur Jayati. And which already we have read the translation given by Srila Prabhupada on this particular verse. And interestingly, Srila Prabhupada then writes his Mangalacharan. So Mangalacharan, again, as we saw that Vastu Nirdesh. So first Vastu Nirdesh is what? Who is the object of this book? So it is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. It is Sri Krishna, who is full of all the rasas. Now when we say full of all rasas, so Srila Prabhupada is so merciful that he has given us all the rasas here. All the 12 rasas he has mentioned. Which are called as neutrality, from neutrality to devastation. These are the 12 rasas given by Srila Prabhupada in the introduction. And then Srila Prabhupada is also mentioning that how he has attracted some gopis like Taraka, Palika, Shyama and Lalita, and ultimately Srimati Radharani. So we will not go into depth, but there are then again explanations about this given by Acharyas. But we have our limited time for this. So, but the point is that Srila Prabhupada is, after writing this, he is saying that let there be no hindrance in execution of this duty of writing the nectar of devotion. Means the nectar of devotion is being written by our Srila Prabhupada. And Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is written by Rupa Goswami. So the first part of the paragraph is Rupa Goswami's translation, and the last line is Srila Prabhupada's his offering to his spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. So yeah, please continue the second paragraph also, because Sanjay Prabhu, because it is the same continuation. Yeah.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada and of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, by whose inspirations I have been engaged in the matter of compiling this summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the sublime science of devotional service as propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago in West Bengal, India, to propagate the movement of Krishna consciousness.
Yes. So this is again Srila Prabhupada's prayers to his spiritual master and to Rupa Goswami, so that he can continue with the compiling the summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah. So then in the next paragraph, Rupa Goswami is saying, Rupa Goswami begins his great book by offering his respectful obeisances unto Sri Sanatana Goswami, who is his elder brother and spiritual master, and he prays that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu may be very pleasing to him. He further prays that by residing in that ocean of nectar, Sri Sanatana Goswami may always feel transcendental pleasure in the service of Radha and Krishna. So such a wonderful prayer, isn't it? Rupa Goswami is offering it to his own elder brother and also his spiritual master. Yeah. So please, somebody can read the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the great devotees and acharyas, holy teachers, who are compared to sharks in the great ocean of nectar and who do not care for the various rivers of liberation. Impersonalists are very fond of merging into the Supreme, like rivers that come down and merge into the ocean. The ocean can be compared to liberation, and the rivers to all the different parts of liberation. The impersonalists are dwelling in the river water, which eventually comes to mix with the ocean. They have no information, however, that within the ocean, as within the river, there are innumerable aquatic living entities. The sharks who dwell in the ocean do not care for the rivers which are gliding down into it. The devotees eternally live in the ocean of devotional service, and they do not care for the rivers. In other words, those who are pure devotees always remain in the ocean of transcendental loving service to the Lord and have no business with the other processes which are compared to the rivers that only gradually come to the ocean. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So here, the shark analogy has been presented, that I offer my respects to devotees who are like bakaras, that is shark, kings among fishes, frolicking in the sweet ocean of devotional rasa, who disregard the insignificant rivers of liberation and who are free from fear caused by the net of time. So you see that in ocean, generally there are fishermen who are catching fishes with the net, but sharks are not fearful with that net, because they are deep in the ocean and they are also very fearsome. So that's why, and they are deep. So generally they don't get caught in the net. And second thing here, it is mentioned that they don't care, or they disregard the insignificant rivers of liberation. So in any ocean, there are many rivers which enter into the ocean. And the aquatics which are in the ocean, they are not worried about how many rivers are coming and all. They are just simply happy and satisfied in that ocean. So the devotees, they joyfully swim in the ocean of nectar, which is the final shelter of various types of liberation. And at the same time, they ignore the rivers of liberation. Liberation means happiness of merging in Brahma, and which cuts the bondage of birth and death, and even though flows eternally. So rivers are flowing eternally. They are cutting the bondage of birth and death. But still, devotees who are enjoying the bhakti rasa in the ocean, they are not at all worried with these rivers of liberation. It is a very significant thing to understand as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that Gaudiya Vaishnavas are absolutely not concerned about the liberation in any way. So that is very, very important to understand. That's why so much of stress Rupa Goswami is presenting here while glorifying his spiritual master and praying to him. And then the third thing is mentioned here is the does not have the fear arising of time. The fish swimming in deep ocean have no fear of fisherman's net. So this is what the shark analogy is explained here. So they are joyfully swimming in the ocean of nectar, and they are ignoring the rivers of liberation, and they do not have fear of time. So this way, Rupa Goswami is praying to all the great devotees and acharyas. Yes, go ahead with the next paragraph. Somebody can read.
Prabhu, one small question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Normally, sharks are used to describe some wrong people, but here sharks are compared to devotees.
Yeah, so that's why the word in Sanskrit is makar, which is translated as sharks, but it is not exactly the sharks which we know in today's world. If you see that the Lord also wears earrings which are shape of makar. In Marathi, there is a saint, Tukaram. He glorifies the Lord, saying that Lord is wearing makara kundala. That means he is wearing the earrings which is having shark shape. So it is not exactly the shark of which is a very fearful shark in this design. It is a different type of shark. Yes, Sanjay Prabhu.
Prabhuji, just one question, Prabhuji. While we are talking about the shark analogy, the second point talks about the river and the river coming and meeting the ocean, which is the liberation of devotees coming and meeting into, or the non-devotees coming and meeting into devotees.
No, it is a path. It is a path. It is a path.
The path, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So shall we go ahead? Now another analogy is going to come. Yes, somebody can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I read?
Please. Go ahead.
Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Goswami text of the Rasamrit Sindhus from the argumentative logicians who unnecessarily meddle in the science of service to the Lord. He compares their arguments and logic to volcanic eruptions in the midst of the ocean. In the midst
Your voice is
of
breaking, Mataji, in between.
the ocean, volcanic eruptions can do very little harm, and similarly, those who are professional service to the Lord and who put forward many philosophical theses about the ultimate transcendental realization cannot disturb this great ocean of devotional service. The author of Bhakti
Thank you.
Rasamrit Sindhu.
Okay. So, so here now another analogy is coming up. Previously we saw the analogy of shark. Now the next is the Vadaba fire analogy. So here is praying Rupa Goswami, O Sanatan, may your ocean of Bhakti Rasa remain for a long time, restricting the harsh arguments of the proponents of karma and jnana, just as ocean restricts the flame of Vadaba fire. So Vadaba fire is nothing but the volcanic eruption. So if there is a volcano in midst of the deep ocean, what it can do to the ocean. It cannot do anything. So similarly, here Rupa Goswami is praying to Sanatana Goswami. So just as the ocean always remains present to restrict the flame of Vadava fire, this work ocean of Bhakti Rasa should always remain present to restrict the power of speaking of Mimamsakas. So these dry logician and argumentators, they are always there to disturb the Bhakti Rasa. But Rupa Goswami is saying that may the ocean of Bhakti Rasa not be disturbed by the argument. And just like if there is a volcanic eruptions in the ocean, it cannot disturb the ocean. So that is what the prayer again is made by the by Rupa Goswami. Yeah.
Prabhuji, Mimamsaka means?
Mimamsakas are those who are presenting that everything is actually happening because of your own activities. Okay. Karma Mimamsaka, they are called. So they are saying that just you keep doing good, you will get good. You do bad, you get bad. That's all. They don't consider any other aspect other than one's own activities. And even Lord Shri Krishna used this once when the Indra Puja was going on in Vrindavan, and he used this as a logic just to divert the attention of Brajavasis from Indra Puja to Govardhan Puja, and just to incite the anger in Indra. And then he eventually got purified. But it does not mean that Lord Krishna is propagating that philosophy. Otherwise, in Bhagavad Gita, we would have heard that only. We would not have heard Sarva Dharman Paridhyajya. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody can read next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhupada.
Please.
The author of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, very humbly submits that he is just trying to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, although he humbly thinks himself unfit for this work. That should be the attitude of all preachers of Krishna consciousness movement. Following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, we should never think of ourselves as great preachers, but should always consider that we are simply instrumental to the previous acharyas, and simply by following in their footsteps, we may be able to do something for the benefit of suffering humanity.
Yeah, it's a very, very important word, Srila Prabhupada, that that should be the attitude of all preachers of Krishna consciousness movement. What is that attitude? That he is just like Rupa Goswami, where he's feeling himself unfit for this work. So similarly, when we are also in the mission of Srila Prabhupada, trying to fulfill the orders of our spiritual master and our predecessors, so we should also feel ourselves unfit for this work actually. So many great speakers, we hear them when they speak, they say that actually we have no qualification to speak, but it's just an order, an instruction has come up, so we are trying to present something. So this should be real mood. It should also not just be the words. Sometimes because of having the proficiency in speaking, we become habitual, and then we just say by word that, I'm just humbly requesting everything like that. But that should actually be the mood. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. That should be the attitude. Prabhupada is using the word attitude. He is not using the word that should be the words of all preachers. No, the attitude of all preachers. That we are following the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, then we should also feel ourselves unfit for this work. Now, in the next paragraph, Srila Rupa Goswami explains how this book has been divided. So here we can see this book is divided into 4 directions. The ocean is divided into 4 directions. The eastern side. The eastern side is nothing but the various varieties of bhakti is explained. So the first part is, or the first wave, there are 4 waves in the eastern side. So Rupa Goswami has explained that every side has got some waves. So the eastern side has got 4 waves, and the title of eastern side is Varieties of Bhakti. So the first wave is the overview of devotion. Second, so the first wave is overview of devotion, is introduction and chapter 1. I forgot to mention that. It is introduction and chapter 1. And then the second wave is devotional service in practice. That is sadhana bhakti. That is from chapter 2 to chapter 16. And then the third wave is devotional service in ecstasy. That is bhava bhakti. That is chapter 17 and chapter 18. And fourth wave is devotional service in love of God, is nothing but the prema bhakti. That is chapter 19. In this way, chapter introduction to chapter 19 covers the eastern side, that is nothing but the varieties of bhakti. So what are the varieties of bhakti which we are seeing? 3 varieties of bhakti. Devotional service in practice, that is sadhana bhakti. Devotional service in ecstasy, that is bhava bhakti. And devotional service in love of God, that is prema bhakti. So this all will be learning in this particular course of Bhakti Shastri. Then the next is the southern side. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So then southern side is overview of rasas. So I have not mentioned the chapters for this, but there are 5 waves, and it explains vibhava, anubhava, satviki bhav, vyabhicharini bhav, and sthayi bhav. So this is just for the sake of explanation. We are not going to study this in this course. So western side explains the primary rasas, the dasya, shantya, dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, and madhurya. These are the 5 primary rasas. And then the next is our northern, last is the northern side, which explains the secondary rasas: laughter, astonishment, chivalry, compassion, anger, fear, ghastness, incompatible mellows, and distorted mellows. So, like this, the various things are being explained. And after this division, then Srila Rupa Goswami gives us the definition of pure devotional service. So authorized, Prabhupada says, authorized descriptions, I have skipped this one paragraph. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is divided into 4 parts that I have skipped. We have just seen that in the PPT. The authorized descriptions of bhakti or devotional service following the footsteps of previous acharyas can be summarized in the following statement of Rupa Goswami. First class devotional service is known by one's tendency to be fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, serving the Lord favorably. So this is the verse. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavutam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. The highest bhakti is defined as continuous service or emotions directed towards Krishna, his expansions, forms, or other related to him, with a pleasing attitude towards Krishna. It should be devoid of desires other than the desire to please the Lord, and unobstructed by impersonal jnana, the materialistic rituals, karma, or other unfavorable acts. So this is the translation of the verse. And if we see, Srila Prabhupada is so merciful upon all of us, because this translation is so difficult to understand, isn't it? But what is Prabhupada's translation? First class devotional service is known by one's tendency. What is the tendency? To be fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. How? By serving the Lord favorably. So this is the definition of this verse given by Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada is further saying the purport is that one may also be in Krishna consciousness unfavorably. You may hear, say, what is this? How can somebody be in Krishna consciousness unfavorably? So, Krishna consciousness, can somebody define what does the word mean, Krishna consciousness?
Being always aware of Krishna and his grace or his creation.
Yeah, means in short, being always conscious of Krishna.
Krishna, yeah.
That's a very apt and simple definition of the word Krishna consciousness. And here Prabhupada is saying that somebody may also be in Krishna consciousness unfavorably. How can that be? Being conscious of Krishna unfavorably. Anybody can say any example?
Like
First of all, can
Kamsa
this happen?
Prabhuji? Kamsa.
Yes, correct. This can happen or not? Yes, it can happen. One can be in Krishna consciousness in unfavorable way. So how was Kamsa unfavorable way?
Kansa always think that Krishna is my enemy, and he was thinking to destroy him.
Correct.
He was
So he
thinking,
was also always thinking of Krishna. Kamsa was thinking of Krishna, but his way of thinking was that Krishna is my enemy. So that is not a favorable way. It is an unfavorable way. So that's why there can be people in Krishna consciousness, but be unfavorable. And that cannot be counted as pure devotional service, Prabhupada is saying. So even though Kamsa was Krishna conscious, but we cannot call him pure devotee. So please now pay attention, because this is a very, very important topic. This is called as Paribhasha Sutra of the book. Paribhasha Sutra means that sutra which defines the whole content of the book. So it is very, very important to understand this. So that's why Krishna consciousness can be there, unfavorable way, but you cannot call it as pure devotional service. But Prabhupada then further says that pure devotional service should be free from the desire for any material benefit or for sense gratification, as these desires are cultivated through fruitive activities and philosophical speculation. So this is another point to be understood.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I ask a question, Prabhuji? If it is
It is regarding
unfavorable consciousness.
Okay.
Prabhuji, what if we are trying to concentrate or to be conscious to in Krishna consciousness activities by, for example, chanting or reading books, but we are not fully concentrated, and somehow we are distracted to materialist things. So that are also counted in unfavorable Krishna consciousness.
Good question. Thank you for that. As we complete the whole definition of pure devotional service, you will get the answer for us. Okay. So, another aspect of Uttama Bhakti. Basically, now you have to understand what has been defined by Rupa Goswami is Uttama Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti means the best devotional service, or the highest form of devotional service. That is what is being talked about here. And there are various components in this best or highest form of devotional service. So one is, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, is this next line, that pure devotional service should be free from the desire for any material benefit or for sense gratification. So that is the first component of this Uttama Bhakti, which is mentioned in the first line of this verse. And by the way, in your shloka recitation, you are supposed to by heart this verse. So you have it in your handbook and you can start memorizing it. And also it is good to memorize because it is the Paribhasha Sutra of the book. So Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Anya Abhilashita means materialistic desires. Shunyam, no materialistic desires are allowed. And that is one component. And Jnana Karma Adi Anavrutam means this Uttama Bhakti or this type of devotional service, which is the highest form of devotional service, is not covered by any jnana or any karma. So what is this jnana? What is this karma? We will slowly try to understand. Right now, we can just make a note of it. That this Uttama Bhakti is not covered by jnana and not covered by karma. And then what are another thing mentioned about this? Anukulyena. Anukulyena means favorable, that we already saw, that this devotional service should be rendered favorable. Krishna. Krishna means unto Lord Krishna. So this is one more aspect. And Anushilanam. Anushilanam means it should be in the line of previous authorities. It should be in parampara. So now if we analyze, these are various components of this definition of Uttama Bhakti. Yeah, now I will show you the screen so then you can make more sense, better sense after I have explained you. So this is the definition of pure devotional service, which has got two types of characteristics, primary and secondary. So primary characteristics, that is Swarupa Lakshan, has got three components. One is Anushilanam, one is Krishna, and third is Anukulyan. Anushilanam means according to the previous acharyas, not by our own whimsical ways. Means that is very important, based on the instructions of previous acharyas. Krishna means unto Shri Krishna, and Anukulyana means favorable. So these three are the primary characteristics of devotional service. Definition of pure devotional service. So far clear? And then the secondary characteristic.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Krishna, I mean, what was the characteristics of Krishna that you said? One is as per the previous acharyas. Second one?
That is Anushilana.
Anushilana.
I have shared in the screen. You are able to see this?
So, yeah. Anushilanam is as per the previous acharyas.
Yeah.
Anukulyena is as per our practices.
No. Anukulyena is favorable.
Favorable. What is favorable? And what is Krishna, Prabhuji?
Krishna means unto Shri Krishna.
Unto Shri Krishna. Okay. Got it.
Unto Shri Krishna. And we will come to that understanding also, what Krishna actually means. That will come later. What does this word Krishna mean? That also has got many meanings. And then the secondary characteristic is Tatastha Lakshan is, it is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. It is free from materialistic desires and it is not covered by Jnana and Karma.
Excuse me, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Here, Swarupa Lakshana in the sense, Swarupa in the sense, in Sanskrit it means primary only?
Yes.
Does it have any other meanings like Tatastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana?
No. The explanation here is of the definition of pure devotional service. And the definition of pure devotional service has got two types of characteristics. One is the primary characteristic, which is called in Sanskrit as Swarupa Lakshan. Lakshan is characteristic, and Swarup is primary, and Tatastha is secondary.
Because like we learn like Tatastha Shakti is like marginal potency. Is it like interconnected, or I just was wondering?
No, see, in Sanskrit is a very refined and wonderful language, and it has every word has got many meanings, and the meanings are based on the context. Like we know one word called as Saindhav. So Saindhav means salt, and it also means a horse. So if a king is sitting on his lunch table and he says, "Bring Saindhav," so nobody is going to bring a horse. Yeah. So like that, Sanskrit, every word has got many meanings. Yeah.
Prabhu,
Yes.
Prabhu, you said this sloka we should practice, but I don't see in that book, Prabhu, NOD book.
Not in the NOD book, in the handbook.
In the handbook.
You have not got the handbook of
Okay, handbook. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So shall we go ahead?
Yes, Prabhu.
So now we will see the word Anushilanam, first of all. So Anushilanam, first of all, we have to understand that this devotional service is sort of cultivation. Cultivation means what? Means we have to be habitual to it. We have to develop that habit of serving Krishna. So that's why it is sort of cultivation. Just like a field is cultivated, and then the seed is sown, and then actually the output comes. So it's sort of cultivation. There's some activity in it. It's not something passive. That has to be understood. So Anushilanam also has got two meanings. One meaning I have already explained, that based on the previous acharyas, following based on previous acharya. That meaning is already explained. Now here we are trying to understand another meaning. So Shila, the word Shila in Anushilanam means active service, and Anu means continuous or following. So the word Anushilanam means continuously, actively serving or being engaged. Continuously, actively being engaged, or following, actively engaged by following in the footsteps of previous acharya.
So, Prabhuji, Anu also means small. So, would it be right to say taking small steps or taking small initiatives to reach the bigger path of devotion?
Again, the same thing. The word Sanskrit is very deep language, and the word Anu has got different. There's a dot underneath N, but here the word is Anu.
Anu.
There is no dot.
Okay.
So these are two different words. So this is the word. So then that's why Srila Rupa Goswami has used this word, because Anushilanam means following the predecessor acharyas. Now interesting is, because Anushilanam means active engagement. This is what we can clearly define it as. Anushilanam means active engagement. Now active engagements also have got two different divisions. One division is to achieve something goal, and other is avoiding unfavorable things. So that is called as pravrutti and nivrutti. Pravrutti means doing something to achieve certain goal, and nivrutti means avoiding unfavorable circumstances, again same, to achieve the goal. So doing something and avoiding something. So in Krishna consciousness, when we come, are we not taught some do's and don'ts? So that is pravrutti and nivrutti. Okay. So this can be explained with the example of a diseased person. A diseased person, he is told that he has to do certain things. He has to take medicine on time. He has to do some specific kind of exercises based on his disease. And he has to do this, he has to do that. At the same time, he is told he should not eat these particular items, he should not exert himself too much, etc., etc. So similarly, in our spiritually diseased condition, we are given these two types of activities which come as a part of Anushilanam. So Anushilanam has got two divisions. One is do's and another is don'ts. So the four regulative principles, don'ts, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So when we are doing that, that is also part of Anushilanam. And then we are told, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read Bhagavatam, go and associate with devotees, visit Dham. This is all do's. So like that, the diseased person is told. And now, last point about this word Anushilanam is, these activities can be performed by body, mind, and words. Isn't it? With the body and our senses, we can do a lot of activities. With our words, we can glorify Lord's qualities. We can glorify in the form of kirtan. We can chant the mantra. We can chant various prayers. And with our mind, we can think about the Lord. We can think about the form of the Lord. We can think what was the darshan that we saw today in the morning. We can feel for the Lord. We can do, we can desire to serve the Lord in a particular way of expanding the preaching. So that is through the mind. So this Anushilanam can be done to body, mind, and words. Clear so far? Any doubts? So I'll repeat that Anushilanam means active engagement, and this active engagement is divided into two, pravrutti and nivrutti, the do's and the don'ts. And this activity can be performed with body, mind, and words in simple and short way. Now the next word is Krishna Anushilanam. So this active engagement is for what? They should be in relationship with Krishna or persons or things in relation to Krishna. This is the actual meaning of the word Krishna. They should be in relationship with Krishna. The active engagement, it's not that we are just actively engaged and doing anything, that means it is pure devotional service. No, it should be in connection with Krishna or with persons related to Krishna or things which are in relation to Krishna. So that is Krishna Anushilanam. So that's why when we talk of taking shelter of Guru, so taking shelter of Guru, so where is Krishna in the Guru? Guru is an honest servant of Krishna. And that's why serving Guru also is considered a part of devotional service. So that also becomes the limb of bhakti. Krishna also indicates other Vishnu Murtis. Means serving Lord Ram, serving Lord Nrsimha, serving Lord Varaha is also part of pure devotional service. It's not that just Krishna means only Krishna, but any Vishnu form is also considered. So now, so Anuchilana is obtained by mercy of Krishna or his representative. Anuchilana means active engagement. Active engagement in Krishna happens by mercy of Krishna or his representatives. Yeah. Then next word is Anukulya. Anukulyana is favorable. So this is the third word
Hare
of the
Krishna, Prabhuji,
primary
can you show the
characteristic.
previous slide, Prabhuji? I need to.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So now the word Anukulyana. So right till now we saw that Anushilanam means active engagement. That active engagement should be in connection with Krishna or his representatives or any form of Vishnu Murti or any form of Krishna. Till now we saw that. Now the third point is mentioned is that it should be favorable, favorably disposed. That active engagement towards Krishna or his devotees or things in connection with Krishna should be favorably disposed. That is the meaning of the word Anukulyena. So here it says devotional service means to prosecute Krishna conscious activities which are favorable. Again, the word important is favorable to the transcendental pleasure of the Lord, and any activities which are not favorable to transcendental favor of the Lord cannot be accepted as devotional service. So this favorable is a very, very necessary qualifier. Why? Now that we'll try to understand. If this word is not there, let's say that pure definition of pure devotional service, Anukulyana word is not there. So then Krishna Anushilana means active engagement towards Krishna. If only if we keep this much, then even the demons will be included in the pure devotional service. Sometime back, when I asked anyone, all of you, that was anyone unfavorably disposed towards Krishna, and you all some of you mentioned the name of Kamsa. So Kamsa was not favorably disposed; he was unfavorably disposed. So if the word Anukulyena is not there in the definition of pure devotional service, then even the demons will be considered as pure devotees, which is not correct. How can demons become pure devotees? They cannot be considered as pure devotees. Now, another aspect is, if this word is not kept favorable, then we may exclude even some devotees from the definition of pure devotees. So now we saw that example of Kamsa, that he was unfavorably disposed because he was constantly thinking Krishna as his enemy. So that's why if we don't keep the word favorable, then enemies will also be included. And there are some devotees who have acted as if they are enemies of Krishna. But actually, the intent was not as enemy of Krishna. Any example for this?
Jaya Vijaya.
Jai Vijay. Okay. Any other?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I don't think it is related that much, but I had listened one story about Advaita Acharya. He was doing prachar against Krishna, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going back to him to
Right.
beat him. So that-
Very good. Very good. This is a very nice example.
yes.
Thank you, Mayur Prabhu. Everybody knows this pastime? So what happens once Advaita Acharya, who is a close associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he starts preaching Advaitavad or Mayavad. So that means he is completely against the preaching movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means he is not pure devotee. Correct? If we consider in this terminology, he is out of pure devotional service. But is it true? Is Advaita Acharya not a pure devotee? It's not true. Then how it can solve the problem? So the problem is solved that the intention of Advaita Acharya was not to preach Mayavad. The intention of Advaita Acharya was to take the dust of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after that, what happened? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very angry. He rushed towards Advaita Acharya when he heard that he is preaching Mayavad, and he started beating him. And then after that, Advaita Acharya said, I am now feeling that I have become successful in my endeavor. Now you have accepted me as your servant. Till now, because of my age, you are always respecting me. But now you have accepted me as your servant, and that's why you're punishing me. So I'm very happy now. So in this way, we see that Advaita Acharya is not excluded from the definition of pure devotional service, because his intention was not to harm the Lord. Any other example?
Prabhuji, can Bhishma Pitama be?
Yes, very good. Correct. Bhishma Pitama. He also never had a thought that he will kill the Lord. But he was fighting just to experience the rasa and giving pleasure to the Lord. Yes. Any example in Vrindavan? Because we are talking about nectar of devotion, which gives the highest form of devotional service. So any example of Vrindavan? Where the action was as if
Maybe the
enemy.
Yashoda Maya.
Yashoda Maya. Yes, exactly. Yashoda Maya is taking a stick in her hand and running after Krishna and trying to punish him. So Yashoda Maya is not pure devotee. Because her Anushilanam is against Krishna. But that is not true. Yashoda Maya is a pure devotee. Why? Because she was favorably disposed towards Krishna. It was out of her intense love that she was going and trying to punish Krishna. She was not going to punish Krishna because Krishna is God. She was going and trying to punish Krishna because he was her son. So if this word Anukulyena is not there, then maybe some demons will be included in devotional service. And some devotees like Yashoda Maya, Bhishma Dev, Advaita Acharya will be excluded from devotional service. That's why this word is very important qualifier. It has to be the part of this definition. So that's why the Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kamsa, although their Anushilanam of Krishna was there, but it was not Anupul. Okay, now we'll come to secondary characteristics.
Prabhuji, can I ask something?
Yes, please.
It's regarding Anushilanam, Prabhuji, in the slide that you have shown. So the last point was like the real connection with Krishna starts with the initiation. So like as a beginner devotees, how should we take that, Prabhuji? That real connection with Krishna starts with initiation.
So actually this initiation is a very sacred ceremony wherein we take a vow in front of fire, spiritual master, deities, and that way we commit ourselves for a particular activity that we had already begun with. So initiation doesn't happen the next day you come to temple, isn't it? You come to temple, you associate with devotees, then they tell you to chant Hare Krishna, you start chanting, you start reading, you start visiting temple more and more. Then you come to chanting 16 rounds eventually. And after that, then somewhere you find the need to accept Guru. Then you choose somebody as Guru. Then you aspire from him, and then you are initiated. So this is a process which happens in general. But that does not mean that only after initiation the transformation begins. Transformation begins since the time when some devotee advises you and you start following. Because
that's what Prabhuji, because even before initiation, with many long years, we'll be doing the same thing, like committed to Krishna without taking initiation, right?
Correct.
So that was I was wondering. Real,
but then
initiation
what
comes
happens
with
is initiation is the official connection with the parampara. So
official,
so that has got a very vital and important role. But at the same time, it is not that transformation will start only after initiation. That is my point. Transformation starts since the day we start coming to the temple, first day.
So I was like just like little demotivated, like without any initiation, are we not really connected to Krishna, Prabhuji?
No, you are connected. Again, I'm saying that connection is there. Only thing is, like you see, a very simple example, marriage ceremony. So marriage ceremony, before actual marriage ceremony happens, there is an engagement. So engagement is like the first day we come to temple. And initiation is the when marriage ceremony happens. It's an official mark that yes, now these two are husband and wife. Like that, initiation is official mark that yes, this is a disciple, he is a guru.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Also, we learn in the Bhakti Shastri that the initiation is the continuous process that we till we achieve the prema bhav of the in prema bhav stage. So I think it is not the once we done the actual initiation, but it is a continuous process that we learn. Is it right?
Yes, correct. That's another point. That initiation is the beginning. It is not the end. So from Shraddha to Prem is our journey. Shraddha is the initial faith that we have, and Prem is the last stage that we get. So from Shraddha to Prem is the journey. So that is what it is, and that's why initiation is one in between activity which is like acting like catalyst for taking us from Shraddha to Prem. Okay. So it's 8:23 and we'll take some good amount of time to discuss the next two characteristics. So I think we'll postpone it for tomorrow. If there are any questions, we can take that.
More than a question, just a thought, Prabhuji. The flow of the session, I'm enjoying the flow of session, but open to the other devotees also to give their views in terms of the flow, and especially given that we have 18 sessions, Prabhuji, and the book is, size-wise, materialistically going back, the size of the book is much thicker than what we saw in NOI and NOD, or NOI and So I hope the flow is apt for all our devotees as well. So just wanted
As
to
far
say
as time is
I
concerned,
was
we just fell 20 minutes late. Actually, I joined 10 minutes late. So that's why we lost that 10 minutes. Otherwise, we would have completed today complete definition. But we just don't want to rush also.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Because the
That's
last
a
two
sincere
characteristics
request.
are also important.
Yeah.
And where we are going to rush, that also I will tell you. From chapter 2 to 16, we are going to rush through. So 16 minus 2, that is almost 14 chapters. Because they are just the explanation of 64 limbs of devotional service. So that won't take much time. This first 6 chapters are very, very important, and it will need some time.
Sure, bro.
And so we'll just conclude with what we went through. So we discussed today in the introduction the Mangalacharan, how first of all Rupa Goswami defines who is the object of the book, that is Krishna, who is full of all 12 rasas, that we discussed. Then second thing we discussed is how he is praying. Rupa Goswami is praying to Sanatana Goswami, who is like Makara in the big ocean of devotional service, and he is praying that please protect this ocean from the rivers of liberation. And then the third thing which we saw is that how he is praying again to Sanatana Goswami that may the volcanic eruptions of logicians and dry philosophers not disturb this ocean of devotional service. And then we saw the contents of the book, which has got 4 sides. Out of that, eastern side is what we are going to discuss in our course. So that is also another point, Sanjay Prabhu, that we are not discussing the whole book, only 19 chapters of it. So if you can see, the thickness reduces a lot. And then we saw the definition of pure devotional service, which has got 2 characteristics, the primary and secondary. Primary has got Anushilanam, Krishna and Anukulyan, and secondary as Anya Bilashita Shunyam and Jnana Karma Adi Anavrutam. And then we also began with understanding the words Anushilanam, Krishna Anushilanam and Anukulyena. And only now the secondary characteristics are remaining. Otherwise, if you want, can we extend for 10 minutes and complete it today? That can be done. It is 8:27. Maybe 10 minutes will be required more to complete. Is it okay with everyone, or shall we do it tomorrow?
Okay, bro.
Okay. Okay. So let us see then.
Part 2, 3, 4 is usually covered in which phase, Prabhuji?
Sorry?
Part 2, 3 and 4 is covered in which phase of the book?
It is not covered in the course, in any course.
It is not covered in any course. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Maybe we can request Education Ministry to hold a separate course in itself for NOD. Yeah. So here the secondary characteristics are mentioned. In order to keep the purity of such Krishna conscious activities, one must be freed from all material desires. That is Anya Abhilashita Shunya. And philosophical speculation. That is Jnana Karmadi Anavruta. So then any desire except for service of Lord is called material desire. This is a very important point. All desires means what? All material desires. And what is material desire? That desire which does not come under the purview of service to the Lord. And philosophical speculation means what? It's sort of speculation which ultimately arrives at the conclusion of voidism or impersonalism. Very, very clear. So desire means that desire, material desire means that desire which is not in service of the Lord. And philosophical speculation means that reaches as a conclusion of voidism or impersonalism. So these two things are not included in the definition of pure devotional service. So Anya Bhilashita Shunyam is the word. devoid of other desires except to serve the Lord. So now in this, if we understand the Sanskrit, so in that Sanskrit, actually the word should have been Anya Abhilasha Shunya. Abhilasha is desire, Anya is other, Shunya means zero. So other means what? Other than Krishna, that is clear. Then why in Sanskrit the word is Anya Abhilashita, not Abhilasha? So the word suffix ita is used. Why? Because there are some desires which are deep rooted as one's nature. Now, there are list of pure devotees. In that we also count Draupadi, isn't it? Draupadi is also pure devotee. So when her disrobing was going on, when she was being disrobed in that assembly of Kuru, she called out Krishna. Now her calling Krishna in that situation, can it be considered as part of pure devotional service? Because she was calling to save her chastity. She was not calling to serve Krishna. So, in order that this kind of nature, which is a natural for a woman to save her chastity, it is a deep-rooted swabhava of a woman to protect her chastity. So, if this is not included, then Draupadi will be out of pure devotional service. Similarly, if somebody is dying and suddenly calls out Krishna, now why is calling Krishna at the death? Or somebody falls while walking and calls out Krishna. Why is calling that? Is there anything that he is going to do to Krishna? Is he going to serve Krishna? No. But it's a deep-rooted nature that when we stumble, when we fumble, we call out. Generally, our own mother. But now, for a devotee, Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. Everything is Krishna for him. So whom he is going to call other than Krishna? So if we say Anya Abhilasha Shunyam, that no, when he's fumbling, he should not call Krishna. When his chastity is being broken, she should not call Krishna. Then all these people will be out of devotional service. So that's why Rupa Goswami carefully added the suffix ita, wherein we can clearly see that those kind of deep-rooted desires, which are deep-rooted as nature, are not considered. Means they are neglected in one sense, we can say. I hope I am making it clear, or is it confusing all of you? Any thoughts?
So, Prabhuji, you said Anya Abhilasha is without a thought of or without desire of anything else.
Yes.
Ita is nothing but it is devoid of innate desires.
It is devoid of other desires which are as deep-rooted as one's nature.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if there are some desires which are related to one's nature, like for example, another very simple thing, we get hungry and we want prasad. Obviously, devotee have only prasad. So then, is this desire to wanting to have prasad is a part of devotional service or not? If we say Anya Bhilasha, then this will not be part of devotional service. But if it is said Anya Abhilashita, yes, it is part of devotional service. Or another way is we feel sleepy in the night. Then if Anya Abhilasha means, no, you should not sleep. What sleep is there? Sleep means ignorance. We are gone into ignorance. But then what our Acharya says, no, you can sleep so that you can serve Krishna tomorrow better. So sleep is also service. And Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam is simple. jnana of impersonal Brahman. So that devotional service, definition of devotional service is not covered by jnana of impersonal Brahman, but jnana related to service of Lord is included and required. So that is about jnana. And then karma. So there are nitya karma and naimittik karma. Means daily rituals. A karma kandi person performs daily rituals. He will offer arghya to Surya, then he will do some puja to that demigod, this demigod. And then there are some occasional rituals which are performed to particular kula devata or that devata or this devata. So all these things are also not considered as a part of devotional service. So the secondary characteristics, one is devoid of material desires except those which are deep-rooted nature, and jnana is free from impersonal jnana or knowledge of impersonal Brahman. But knowledge about service of Lord is required, necessary and included. And nitya and naimittik karma, they are not part of devotional service. That is the daily rituals and the occasional rituals. And then the last, adi, jnana karma adi. So adi means etc. So what is this etc.? Various kind of sacrifices, various kind of renunciations or austerities or Sankhya philosophy, etc., etc. All these things are not included in definition of pure devotional service.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry, a
Yes,
small
please.
quick question. You said offering arghya to Lord, Sun Lord. Surya is Pratyaksha Narayana, Surya Narayana is nothing but Pratyaksha Narayana. So offering arghya is also part of devotional service, no Prabhu?
Yeah, so we understand and consider that, but there are many karma kandi people who offer to Surya Devata and they think that this Devata is different from Vishnu. See, when we see all these things, we have to understand what is the understanding behind the person. As devotees, we have got a broad understanding. Then somebody may also say that they are all servants of Vishnu only. So what is the problem? So not like that. We don't go and serve all the servants of Vishnu. We serve those servants which are purely serving Krishna or Vishnu. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I just gave one example, but then there are some many like if you see that the Panchopasana is considered as a part of their daily worship. Durga, Shiva, Surya, Ganesha, and Vishnu. But now you will say Vishnu, oh, it is a devotional service only. So it is devotional service, but they don't consider it as devotional service. They just do it because it is kind of upasana, panchopasana told. But they get benefit of doing devotional service unknowingly. That is the difference. A devotee is doing every activity knowingly. Whereas a karmi, not a karmi, but a karma kandi is doing not everything knowingly. Right? Then there are sandhyas, and 3 sandhyas they perform some ritual. That is also there. So these are all considered nitya karmas. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
This is regarding Arnyabhilashita Sunyam. So you said like all deep-rooted natural desires can be excluded from this, right? So as we are in materialistic world, we work to earn money, right? To survive, and also how should we consider that aspect, Prabhuji?
Wow, great question. And very practical question. So, every activity of ours should be in this thought only that we are serving for Krishna. So that has to be cultivated. If you see in many purports, Srila Prabhupada mentions that one should mold his life in such a way that he will be able to remember Krishna always. So when we are working outside, we should think that I am working for Krishna. And that is what then the second aspect comes, that sometimes our work culture is such that it is very difficult to even remember Krishna. So then the second aspect comes is what Srila Prabhupada was always thinking, and which he always mentioned, that my 50% of work is remaining, the establishment of Varnashram Dharma, wherein everyone will be engaged according to his inclination, and then he don't have to travel much here and there for that work, and he can have lot of time for spiritual culture. So that is a dream which Srila Prabhupada had, and which is unfulfilled yet, and it is left to all of us to think about and work upon, and how it can be done. That is a big in itself a homework left for us by Srila Prabhupada. But then as of now, in practical terms, we should at least begin our day by remembering Krishna. And in the daytime, whenever we are at work culture, if it is possible to place some picture of Krishna around us, it can keep reminding us. And at the end of the day, before going to bed, again we can think of Krishna, and offer all our activities of the day to Krishna. Kayena vacha manasendriyan va buddhyatmana va prakriti sabhava karomi yajñat sakalam parasme narayanati samarpayami. So this verse we all know, since childhood we had been chanting. So now it is a time to apply practically. So like that, we can do it as a workaround for some time till we actually set ourselves in a place where we can always remember. Okay. So thank you all very much. We'll conclude here today's session. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.